Hey guys, I'm gonna try to get my videos back up and running. I know I've kind of been slacking and everything. If you watch my previous videos, you know I've been going through a lot of medical issues and stuff, and that's fine. You know, it is what it is, and we keep living and keep pushing. Anyways, just wanted to let you know, I'm an old school welder. I mean, I go back to the 80s, and I believe in quality products. I really do. In fact, the welder in the back of my truck is a Lincoln Ranger MPX 330. It's stout. I can run 532 rods all day long. It won't even miss a beat. It can handle any pipeline. It can handle any structural job. It doesn't matter. You know, small to large, I got you covered. I decided that I was going to buy this. It's a small welder. It's an Eastwood 180 MIG welder. Now, it says it can handle up to 035 wire. That's fine. But we're going to check this out. Now, the first thing is the MIG gun. It actually seems pretty sturdy. It's a smaller one. But again, this is not designed to handle like 045 or 1/6 or 052 wires. This smaller stuff. And they always come in handy for any application, really. But we're definitely going to see if this does. Now, I don't like the length. It's small. I like the longer ones. But now, as far as the end goes, I'm going to see if either my Miller or my Skillcraft or my Lincoln gun can connect to this. If that can, then I'm happy, because each one of those are 15 foot long. Now, the main reason I went with this particular one is, one, the price was just too good to pass up. It was on sale, and on top of that, it came with a spool gun. So, once we go through the spool gun and all, now, one thing I will say, this round clamp, that is junk. That is the cheapest thing I ever seen in my life. I will be changing this right here. It's so thin that this is going to be one of them ones that curl over at some time or another. So we're going to fix all that. That's not a problem. But the spool gun itself looks pretty sturdy. We're going to check that out today too and everything, and see how that goes. Now, the gas line it comes with, it's kind of small. I got some 25 foot, 50 foot, and even 100 foot gas line. We're probably going to just leave that twist tied up and throw it off in a cabinet somewhere. Now, this is a 220 and 110 or 120 plug-in, but this right here will most likely never be used on this system right here, because if there's one thing I can tell you when it comes to MIG welding, these smaller ones that run 110, if you're doing any kind of serious welding, it's just not going to pull the punch it needs to pull, and it's not going to get the penetration it needs. So I'm going to stop right here, and we're going to get this out of the box. We're going to take a look at it and see what's what, and I'll be back. Okay, we got it set up, got it plugged up and everything, and it's working fine. Now I'm going to show you something real quick so you understand something. All right, you see this wing nut right here? That is what holds this in place, and I don't like that at all. I will be replacing that, no problem, no harm, no foul. Now, I did check my my big boy, my Tweco, my Skillcraft, and the plug-in, everything works fine. I'll hook it up later. Right now, though, this thing is set up to run 052, some big bore wire. So I got to change out the liner and get some new tips and everything. No big deal, no harm, no foul. One thing I wanted to address, though, while I'm here is, first of all, if you know me, you know I absolutely cannot stand gasless flux core wire. It's dirty. It's nasty stuff. Now, if you're just putting some junk together in the shop, whatever, that's fine. It's not a problem. And this is probably where you hear people say, I wouldn't trust flux core for nothing. Now, if you're talking about flux core like what we use in the shipyards, or we use in industrial or commercial welding, that's a different kind of flux core. And believe me, it'll hold the world together, because it does. Trust me. But one thing I've noticed, I've seen some videos, a lot of guys running gasless flux core, they do this. They leave it as is and they don't put their nozzle on. Well, let me tell you something. All that splatter and spray and everything is going to get in your threads right here and tear that up, and you're replacing it. Just put your nozzle back on. No big deal. It ain't going to hurt nothing. And you protect it. That's what it's for, is to protect your tip and your diffuser. I mean, use it. But anyways, so far, I've only found a couple things that I don't care about it, and it's more aesthetic type stuff than it is anything else. It's not functionality. I'm going to get it back running. You're going to hear a lot of noise background because I've got to run it off of my welder because I don't have a 220 plug out here. Not yet. I will later. Because I'm not running this thing off of 110. Because you run these small guys off of 110, I'm sorry, you're just not going to get the penetration or the actual weld you need. The wire won't flow right. Now, it may be fine on some small stuff like 023 or something like that, but when you're getting an 030, 032, 035, or 045, it just, 110 won't handle it. Now, this one is rated at 035, so I'm not going to be running 045 or 052 wire through it, so no big deal, no harm, no foul. So let me get everything set up, get my hood and stuff. I may be just nitpicky, I don't know, maybe it's me, but I keep finding some things that I don't care for. This is their regulator. This thing ain't got no weight to it. It is lightweight. It is all brass, but when it comes to welding where you have inert gas, where you're talking about argon, 7525, 95.5, whatever gas you're running, use a flow meter. It just works better. That's just my personal opinion. There's other welders out there say they don't care, but as far as that goes, if I'm using a dial on both of them when it comes to my regulator, I want something a little more beefy than this. I don't know if this is single stage, I don't know if it's dual stage or what have you, but this is not something that I would be comfortable with hooking up to a large bottle of high pressure gas. So this is going to go back in this little box, and it's going to go up on a shelf in my shop somewhere. And you know, if I get a little 80 bottle, I may use it, but as far as that goes, when you're talking about the bigger bottles, use something that's going to be able to handle the incoming pressure on your high pressure side of your regulator. That's just my PSA for the day. Okay, I just ran a couple little quickies because I wanted to play with it real quick. Now, I can't stress upon you young welders more than what I can. Learn to operate that machine. All this jiggle jaggle, roll around, I'm stacking dimes, crap, dude. Look, I can run a bead and make it look like that son bitch come off a machine. I'm talking about a robotic welder. All by manipulating that welder right there. I'm sorry, that's my rant for today. But anyway, now again, I'm not big on gasless flux core, but here we go. Okay, let me get it cleaned up real quick. Well, kind of looks like crap. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is gasless flux core. And I got some playing around to do. I got to nail my parameters in on what I'm doing. But I think this is going to be a fine addition to the shop for now. And once I get everything dialed in and ready to go, I think we'll be running okay. I think it'll be good for some small little projects. Nothing that's going to take any hardcore stress, you know, any real torsion to it. But anyways, we're going to take care of that. I'm going to play with this for a little bit. We'll come back and make a couple more videos and see how things are going.